Denied again. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get approved for that next credit card.
What's going on YouTube? Welcome to Currency Counts, where I cover all things money. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is check your credit score. And that should go without saying, right? But there's a lot of people that apply blindly for a credit card, not really knowing what's in their credit report. So there's only two sites you're gonna wanna check out, and both of them are free. The first one is creditkarma.com and the second one is experian.com. Now with Credit Karma, you'll be able to check out your TransUnion and your Equifax credit report. With experian.com, you'll be able to see your Experian report. Now your Experian is the most important out of all three. Most lenders, if they're not using Plaid because that's where the market's going, are using Experian. And second to that is gonna be TransUnion. So once you have your credit score, this is where a lot of people stop. I have a 640 credit score. All right, let me see what card I can be approved for with the 640 credit score. You're gonna wanna keep going here because it's not all about your credit score. So let's see what's in the report. The first thing you're gonna wanna check are your inquiries. How many inquiries do you have within a certain period of time? Now, you should only have 6 within a 1-year period. If you're applying for a bunch of different credit cards, let's say you apply for 5 cards in 1 month, even if you have good credit, that's not a good look to your lender, to whoever you're applying to, because they see, okay, this guy is applying for 5 cards in 1 month. Why are they applying for this much credit? They must need money for some reason. Okay, are they gonna pay us back? Red flag. They're definitely not gonna wanna lend to people that are applying for all this credit within a short period of time.
Now, I know that really doesn't make much sense, does it? You're taking out credit, you're applying for credit because you need money. You don't have the money to pay for bills, to pay for things that you need. But let me let you in on a little secret. If you have money, you're gonna get lent more money because credit is meant to benefit those who don't need it.
So good rule of thumb, don't have more than 6 inquiries within 1-year period of time. The second, and one of the more important things you're gonna wanna look at, is your credit card usage. This doesn't mean on one particular card. What I see a lot of people do and make the big mistake of doing is, let's say you're new to credit, you get a $1,000 credit card, one, right? You only have $1,000 credit card trade line. You have nothing else. You take that card, you max it out. Boom. Your credit score went from a 640, now it's at a 580. Why did it drop 60 points? Well, you just maxed out your credit card. Your one and only credit card. That's definitely gonna hurt you and keep your credit score low and keep you from getting approved for more credit. The smart thing to do, take out 3 credit cards at $1,000, right? Easier said than done, I understand that, but there are ways of doing it. When you max out one credit card, you're not maxing out your full credit card usage. It's only at 30% because you have $3,000 worth of credit, not $1,000. If you want to use another card, just apply for another credit card and use up the previous one, and that's not going to take a hit on your credit score. It only takes a hit once that credit usage goes above 30%. If you're above 50%, if you're above 70%, forget about it. It's going to be even harder to apply for credit or to get approved for credit. These two, the inquiries within a short period of time plus your credit card usage, are going to be the 2 most important. Aside from your collections, if you have collections, you can still get approved for credit cards depending on how old the collections are. I have 1 collection and I have over $7,000 credit.
So you can do 2 things if you have collections on your credit report. Do nothing and wait for them to fall off after 7 years, or if you value your credit, you can always settle. And even if you owe a lot, you can settle for pennies on the dollar. I have a video where I settled a $8,000 debt for under $1,600. That's gonna be linked right here somewhere. You always have options.
I know some people will say in the comments, well, late payments will hurt also. Yes, they will, but we really can't worry about those late payments because those are just so difficult to get off your credit report. All right, so now that you got your credit score, you know more or less what cards you can apply for your credit situation. You're not gonna wanna go apply for a Chase Sapphire card if you have a 640 credit score because those require over a 700. You say, you know what? I'm just gonna gamble and go apply for it. You definitely don't wanna do that because all you're doing is adding another hard inquiry to your credit report. And not only are you adding a hard inquiry, it's a hard inquiry being denied. So what other banks see is, okay, well, they didn't get approved for this card. Maybe that bank sees something that I don't see. They didn't approve them. I'm not gonna approve them either. They deny you based on algorithm. Back to the credit score.
Even when you think you know your credit score, it can still be tricky. Check this out.
Right here it says I have a 677 through my TransUnion and a 673 through my Equifax, and that's through the Vantage Score 3.0. So if I go to my Tomo account where it also gives me a free credit score, it says I have a 717 through my Vantage 4.0 account. So what gets even more confusing, if I go to my Experian account, it says I have a 679. And then if I go to one of my credit card accounts where it also gives me a free credit report, it says I have a 706. And there's a ton of different scoring models. So if I scroll all the way down right here, just to name a few, I have a 620 on my bank score 8. These are a little bit out of date, but just check out the irregularity here. On my FICO score 3, it's saying I have a 594. On my FICO score 2, it says I have a 593. And they're gonna be different also for auto and mortgages. That's why if you have bad credit, you might still be approved for a $25,000 auto loan, but not be approved for a $500 credit card. Doesn't make sense, but the scoring models are different. When you apply for a credit card, you have to make sure you know where they're pulling your credit report from. If you're not sure what card to apply for, where they pull from, I have a lot of different videos on cards that you can get pre-approved without an impact to your credit score. So one example of that is the Capital One card. And when you apply using the link in my description, you can see if you're pre-approved without a hard pull to your credit. So it's not only gonna apply you to one credit card, it's gonna apply you to multiple credit cards and give you the best card for your credit situation. So if you do have good credit, it's gonna approve you for a higher limit, higher perks credit card. If you have bad credit, it's gonna approve you for a higher interest, but 9 times out of 10, even with bad credit, you're gonna be pre-approved. All right, so let me show you some of the best practices when applying for a credit card. So I'm here at the Capital One application page. After you enter your personal information, the first thing it's gonna ask you is, what's your employment status? Okay, this should go without saying, right? Let's start with self-employed. A lot of people these days are self-employed. This right here, if you put you are self-employed, what the algorithm sees is, okay, self-employment almost means unemployed, because if you are self-employed, you know some months are good, some months are bad, some months are really bad. So what it sees is, okay, is this person gonna be able to pay back the money they're borrowing, the money we're lending them? You're retired, the algorithm sees, okay, this person is on a fixed budget and they may not have the money to pay us back. If you're a student, you're young, you don't have a lot of credit, you're irresponsible with credit, you don't have a high paying job because you are a student, you are going to school, we don't know if we're gonna get our money back. If you're unemployed, what does unemployment mean? No income, no revenue coming in, they definitely can't pay us back. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is make sure that you're employed. Next, what's the highest level of education you've completed? Now they have less than a high school diploma or GED, some college or associate's degree, bachelor's or advanced graduate degree. Now what would you enter here? If you only have a high school diploma, and this is all in the algorithm, this is not me saying it, this is in the algorithm. If you only have a high school diploma, more than likely, you don't have a high paying job. You can't get a high paying job because you only have a high school diploma. If you have less than a high school diploma, to the algorithm, that pretty much means you're out here living reckless. That's a huge red flag right there. Some college degree or associates, that's good. Bachelor's is even better. Advanced graduate degree. So this information right here, I just want to point out, for Capital One at least, it's not verifiable, right? They're not going to verify, hey, let me see your degree. So when I apply, I have a bachelor's degree. Okay, this next one is one of the most important and one of the trickiest. Total annual income. How much do you make a year? Let's just say you make 30 grand a year. They're only gonna lend you a percentage of what you make per year. So throwing it out there, there's different requirements for different lenders, but let's just say they lend you 10% of your total annual income. If you only make 30 grand a year, you might only get a $3,000 credit limit, depending on your credit score and all these other factors, right? But some people try to be funny and they make $1 million. I don't even think you could enter that here, right? 900 grand. I make 900 grand a year. Now, if you put 900 grand a year, they might call you out on that. Prove that you make 900 grand a year, because if you make 900 grand a year, you're not borrowing money from Capital One. Now your monthly rent, you're gonna wanna come in on this as lowest as you can. And what I mean is, if you split rent, if you live with your parents and don't pay rent, or somebody else pays rent in your house or your mortgage, you're gonna wanna put that. So if you have 0 monthly rent, you put 0 monthly rent. And why does that matter? Well, let's say you make 3 grand a year or 30 grand a year. That's $2,500 a month. If your monthly mortgage is $1,000, you only have $1,500 left over. And of that $1,500, of course, you have your car payment, you have groceries, you have entertainment, you have everything else. You're not gonna have enough money to pay back this debt. So you're gonna wanna keep this as low as possible. So if you split rent, put that you split rent. You only pay $100 a month in rent. Back to your annual income. So if you're a gig worker, you're only making 20 grand a year. You don't want to put that you make 20 grand a year. You may include any person over the age of 21 that helps pay bills. So if there's anybody else in the household that brings in an income, you can include that here. Add it all up. Let's say it's 85 grand, whatever it is to your situation. Don't only put what you earn, you can include your entire household. Okay, so this next one, do you have any bank accounts? Checking and savings, checking only, savings only, or none? If you click on none, if you don't have a bank account, that's another red flag. The algorithm sees, wait a minute, this person doesn't even have a bank account. Can we really trust somebody that doesn't even have a bank account? So you definitely have a checking and savings. So why is this so important, and why do they even ask you these questions? All they're trying to figure out is if you're credit worthy. So have you ever been asked by a friend or family member to borrow money and you automatically think as they're asking, man, this fool ain't gonna pay me back. They still haven't paid back so-and-so. And that's pretty much what credit is, building up a trust to borrow money. And once you are approved and you have a good track record and you show that you can pay this money back, now other lenders are more open to approve you. Now you might even get offers in the mail. Hey, apply for this card, because now they want your business. They'll be fighting for your business because you show that you're trustworthy through your credit. Okay, so from here we go to next. They're gonna ask you for your DOB and your SSN. Once you do that, they're gonna let you know if you're pre-approved for a card. And that's pretty much it. That's really all you need to do to give yourself the best odds of being approved for a credit card. So I will have this linked in the description if you wanna check out Capital One for yourself. I wanna thank you for watching. Check you on the next one.